Hello everyone and welcome to another indoor GCN training video. This one is brought to you by myself, Chris Alpe, and I'm joined by Manon Lloyd. We're going to be taking you through a 30-minute ramp up to FTP. To start with, we're going to do 3 minutes, nice and gently, perceived exertion of 1, 50% of your threshold, and I'm going to use a magic threshold number of 300 watts to make life easy, so that should be around 150 watts right now. Cadence of 80, perceived exertion of just 1, so it's like going for a walk. Now this session has been designed by Neal Henderson of the Sufferfest. It's called the Escalator, and it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. He's described it much like life, but I think that's a little bit unfair. Life can sometimes be a lot simpler than that, and sometimes a lot more challenging as well. Anyway, the principle of the session is that you go 2 steps forward, so you increase the intensity twice, then you recover a little bit before increasing it again. We've got 3 minutes now, we're 1 minute into that already. Cadence of 80, nice and gentle. The idea is to build up to our threshold power, which will help increase our fitness a little bit. You can almost use this as 1 of 2 sessions in a day. It's not the hardest of sessions that they've got, but it is one of the more enjoyable ones, one of the more beneficial ones as well. Nice easy gear right now. We're not trying yet. We've got another 90 seconds until it really begins. Now's a good time to think about hydration, making sure your fans are set up in front of you. We've once again managed to forget our towels, haven't we?
We have.
So we'll be dripping all over the floor, getting nice and warm. But that's good as well, it burns more calories, right, if you sweat?
Guess so.
That's what I heard. So the next block is just 2 minutes. And when we change gear, we'll be, when we press the lap button, we'll be pedaling at a cadence of 90, increasing the intensity up to 60%, so it's around 180 watts. If you're using that magic 300 watt marker. So it's a slight increase in cadence and power. And then from there, we're going to build up the cadence to 100, increase the intensity to 70%. We're not going to be up to our threshold power until around 19 minutes into this session, so we've got quite a long progressive build up with a few points of recovery in there as well. Just 40 seconds now until we take on that first increase in power, intensity and cadence. Make sure you're nice and comfy on the bike. If you need to change gear, make sure your gears are well tuned. You'll notice that I haven't paid too much attention to tuning my gears to the cassette on this, and it's not the smoothest, so bear with me if I make too much noise. That's laziness on my part. Just 15 seconds now, and we're going to press the lap button and do a 2-minute effort at 60% and a 90 cadence. My cadence is already up to 90 actually. Find it quite comfortable right now. Heart rate should start to move in this next block. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. So 2 minutes, settle into that cadence of 90. The most important thing is to try and get the cadence throughout this session and the intensity. Your heart rate is a byproduct of the effort that you're putting in. So focus on how your legs feel, how hard you're trying, how hard you're pedaling, how fast you're pedaling. Position on the bike, try and keep your shoulders nice and relaxed. Breathe nice and deep. So the next effort is going to take us up to 70%. We've got a minute and a half to build up to that. That'll be when you start to notice that you're going to start to feel a little bit warmer. That's when you need to drink. Staying hydrated on the indoor trainer is always a bit of a challenge. Make sure you've got a window open, you're near a doorway, or you've got a fan on. We're using our normal road bikes, and we've paired them with our Wahoo kicker trainers. We've got the headwind keeping us cool. And we've got the climb as well, supporting the front of the bike. Not that we're going up any hills today, luckily. Man and I, both not big fans of hills, we've decided.
Definitely not.
Another 53 seconds now until we crank it up to a low tempo kind of effort. It's high cadence, it's going to be a cadence of 100, so we're going to increase from 90 up to 100. It's going to feel quite a bit faster. It's going to help warm the legs up. That's the first step forwards before we take a step backwards then. Because after this next one, we've got that 1 step backwards. So 2 increments forwards, 1 backwards each time, which makes it quite easy to remember. If you see me looking this way, it's because I've got the session detailed in front of me. Make sure I don't make too many mistakes as we're going through it. Let's go for a perfect run, shall we? We've got 15 seconds now before we crank the cadence up. 100 RPM. It's going to feel quite fast if you're not a natural spinner. Intensity you're looking for is 70% of threshold. So, and in 3 seconds, we're going to up our cadence to 100. and up the intensity then to 70% of threshold power. So that'd be around 210 watts, I'd imagine, if you were pretending your threshold was 300 watts. I've chosen that number because it's easy to remember, easy to calculate. Cadence of 100, that's the important thing right now. Perceived exertion, 4 to 5 out of 10. So it's not a max effort, it's a sort of sustainable effort that you could maintain for a good couple of hours out on the road. It's just enough to get your body going, your blood pumping. I'm out of breath already. You can hear that when I'm speaking. Right, we've got just over 25 seconds left, and then we're gonna have a partial recovery before we start the bulk of this session. Just 20 seconds now, and we'll be dropping the cadence down to 80 and the intensity down to 60% of your threshold power, which will feel quite easy. It's gonna be around a 2 out of 10 perceived exertion. So 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, or 1. There you go, cadence of 80 now. Take some deep breaths, pedal gently, have a drink, maybe turn your fan up, make sure your windows are open, make sure you're well ventilated, make the latter part of this session that little bit easier if you've got some fresh air circulating around you. So this session is going to be very much like riding up some little hills that get steeper and then they get easier again in between. So many successive ramps of effort, 2 steps forward, 1 step backwards. We've got another 60 seconds of recovery now before we start this session. So step 1, low tempo, but with a standard cadence of 90, so we're not pedaling too quickly. Then we're going to bump up the intensity a little bit. We're going to go from 80% in that effort up to 85%. We're going to ramp the cadence up with it up to 95. So that's the next 90 seconds or so ahead of us. We've got just over 30 seconds now before we increase that cadence to 90 and the intensity up to 80%. It's going to feel like a 5 out of 10 roughly if you're doing perceived exertion. So it's not too hard, but it's a definite increase over what we're doing right now. Keep an eye on your cadence. Mine's crept up there a little bit, up to 88, 90 again. It should be 80 right now. It's good to differentiate between the hard and the easy parts of this session. Otherwise you'll just end up in the middle ground, not really getting the most benefit out of it. You ready, Manon?
Ready.
Ready. Right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So it's cadence of 90 now. Trying a little bit harder. You might have to change gear a little bit to get the intensity up. Intensity is 80% of your threshold power. So if you are using watts, you're going to use that magic 300 number. That'll be 240. It's not too hard. You can sustain this outside for quite a while. This one lasts just 90 seconds, this effort. So you've got 1 more minute. Focus on the cadence, the power, the position on the bike, staying comfortable, control your breathing. So in just under 1 minute's time, we're going to increase the effort. We're going to go from a cadence of 90 to 95. And when we do that, we're also going to increase the intensity up to 85%. So getting quite close to your threshold power. It's a sort of zone, which is probably called something along the lines of zone 4 if you're using a power meter. Your heart rate's going to be a little bit slower to respond. Don't worry about that too much. It's more a byproduct of the effort you're putting in. You'll see by the end of the effort, it's getting up there in those zones as well. Just 25 seconds now. Cadence at the moment should be 90. It should be at 80% of intensity. And it's around a 5 out of 10 if you're using perceived exertion. In a minute, that'll go up to around 6. Good time to hydrate right now before the efforts really start. 5 seconds now. 4, 3, 2, 1. Cadence up to 95. This is going to last for 60 seconds. And then we've got a brief 30-second recovery after that. Or 30 seconds, going a little bit easier. This session is going to maintain quite a bit of intensity for the next few minutes. So, focus on your breathing. Cadence of 95. It's the most important thing, the power and the cadence or the intensity. This should be about a 6 out of 10 right now. And then we're going to do, in 30 seconds time, going to back off a little bit, reduce the cadence by 10 RPM from 95, which we're currently doing. It's getting quite hard to breathe. You'll notice that my breathing's a little bit shorter. How are you finding it, Manon?
Yeah, my heart rate's definitely going up.
It's getting warm, isn't it? If I had longer arms, I'd adjust my fan right now. We've got 9 seconds left of this one. We're going to decrease the effort ever so slightly. We're at 85% right now. Right now is the time to reduce that to 75%. So ease up a little bit, just for 30 seconds. Allows your body to catch up, to respond. Reoxygenate your muscles if you've been trying a little bit too hard. Take some good deep breaths, a couple of sips of water. In 15 seconds, we're going to start another interval. Cadence right now should be around 85. So 4, 3, 2, 1. Right now, we're going for a cadence of 90, and we're trying at 90%. So that's around a 7 out of 10 if you're using perceived exertion, or around 280 watts if your threshold was 300 watts. That's quite a bit harder. You actually need to change gear a couple of times because the cadence should be 80. So this is mid-tempo with a lower cadence. This is really going to help get some muscle recruitment going. You know what? I'm going to use the big ring. Good deep breaths. This effort lasts for 90 seconds now. I've noticed indoors I always end up pedaling that little bit faster. Just find it that little bit easier, so I need to maintain the focus on my cadence. 85% right now is the intensity you should be going for. Around a 6 out of 10 perceived exertion, roughly. Cadence of 80. Got just 30 seconds left on this one. Then I'm going to increase the cadence up to 90. And with that, we're also going to increase the intensity up to 90% as well, which makes it nice and easy to remember. That's a 60-second effort that we're going to do then. It's going to start in 60 seconds time. Right now you should be feeling pretty warm. Breathing should be increased, your heart should be pounding away. You've got 5 seconds to go until this interval kicks in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You notice my seconds get faster. Right, so this is 90 cadence now. And you're at 90% of your threshold or your sustainable power. 90% of what you think you could do for an hour. Good deep breaths, focus on the pedaling, focus on keeping that cadence where it needs to be. Focus on maintaining nice posture on the bike. Don't slide too far forwards. Don't move around in the saddle too much. You notice I'm really bad for that. I like to slide around the saddle a lot. So we've got another 30 seconds to go on this effort, and then we're going to decrease the intensity and the cadence a little bit. The intensity is going to drop down to 80% from the 90, which we're currently at. And the cadence is going to drop by 5, so you may not need to change gear. Cadence is going to drop down to 85. And after that, we've got some faster intervals coming up. So just 5 seconds now. 3, 2, 1, and drop that cadence down to 85. You probably won't have to change gear. Bring the intensity down with it as well. Focus on your breathing, stay comfortable on the bike. That's really important at all times. It's just 30 seconds, this effort, or this recovery. It's not a complete recovery. Maintaining a little bit of pressure on the pedals, a bit of tension in the chain. And then we're going to really ramp it up with a cadence of 100 from here. So right now you should have a cadence of 85, but in 3 seconds time, 90% exertion, go. 90% exertion, 100 RPM per minute. So 90%, that's getting very close. You see I slid forwards there. It's getting very close to your threshold power. It's going to start to feel a little bit harder. Cadence is really important right now. See Manon's gone for the drops. Track racer, speed racer. Good breathing rate. This is where these efforts start to get a little bit harder. So this is 90 seconds at a cadence of 100 RPM. And after that, I'm going to keep the cadence where it is, but increase the intensity. So really focus on that 100 RPM, getting comfortable. This is where these efforts start to last a little bit longer. I always try and rotate my pelvis forward so I can pedal faster. Don't have the most flexible hamstrings. I need to try and work on that. Good deep breaths. Try and maintain relaxed hands on the bike. Anything that's going to make you smoother is going to be better. Feel your lungs are there. Stay hydrated. We've got 20 seconds left before we increase the intensity. Maintaining that same cadence, so you're probably going to have to drop a gear. The intensity is going to go from 90% up to 95%. It's starting to get very close to your threshold power there. You've got another 5 seconds before that starts. 4, 3, 2, 1. Right, there we go. So slightly higher gear. We've got 60 seconds on this one. So you're trying a little bit harder than you were before. You can tell I'm trying a lot harder because I'm breathing very deeply. It's only a 60-second effort, and we back everything down. We back down the cadence to 80 and the intensity to 85%. This should feel like a 7 out of 10 if you're basing it on perceived exertion. It's going to be quite hard, it's going to be quite uncomfortable, but it is sustainable. Remember, we're not yet at 100% of our threshold power, but we are close. Another 15 seconds, and then we're going to have a 30-second easier period. 9 seconds. Maintain that posture, maintain that cadence all the way to the end of the effort. Don't skimp just because there's a few seconds to go. 2, 1, and stop. So now you're backing down to 85% from the 95. So it's not a huge difference. You're still going to feel your legs, but your cadence can drop right down to 80%. You might find you need to change gear again. Depending on the type of turbo trainer you're using at home or the way you're doing these intervals, it's all going to be very different, very personal. So we've got 30 seconds like this, we've got another 8 seconds to go, and then we're going to ramp the intensity right up to 95%. 3, 2, 1, and a cadence of 90. So we're pedaling that a little bit faster, but we're trying a lot harder. We're trying as hard as we were a moment ago. Breathing really deep for the next 90 seconds. So your power, if you had a threshold of 300 watts, your power right now will be right up there at 285, so you're very, very close. Cadence 90, it's not crazy fast. We're going to maintain that 90 cadence for the next few minutes, and then we're going to increase that as well as the intensity. Really focus on your breathing, focus on your posture, focus on getting the most effort into your legs, not into the rest of your body. You've got another 45 seconds for the first half of that first ramp. It's almost completed. The next increase in effort only lasts 60 seconds. It's going to be that little bit easier to cope with, a little bit easier to manage. Just 34 seconds to go. Breathe nice and deep. Keep that cadence at 90. Really focus on the effort. So when we increase the intensity now from 95%, which is going to be around a 7 on the perceived exertion, you might have to change gear again. There's a little bit of leeway with your cadence either way, plus or minus 1 or 2 revs, that's absolutely fine. You've got 5 seconds now until the increase in intensity. We're going right up to threshold. 3, 2, 1, go. We've got 60 seconds now, right at your threshold power. So you might find you slightly move around on the bike, try and maintain a natural posture, and really focus on pedaling a nice smooth pedal stroke all the way around. Good deep breath here, really important. Nearly halfway through this one now. And then we've got a 30-second decrease. We're going to be maintaining a very high power output on that decrease. We'll be very, very close to the threshold still. Right now you should be right at your threshold power, the sort of intensity you can maintain for an hour. And in a minute we're going to drop it down by 10%. So you'll go from an 8 on the perceived exertion to around a 7. This is exactly the sort of effort you'd be riding at if you're trying to get somewhere as fast as you could outside. We've got 5 seconds to go before we drop the intensity. 85% and a cadence of 80. Now, it's got 30 seconds now, just easing off that little bit. Sorry, 90%, 90 cadence. Not dropping off quite as much as I was letting you believe just there. Breathe real deep. This lasts just 30 seconds. This is where the session is going to get really hard now, so you really have to dig in. You've got 5 seconds. We're going to increase the cadence to 95. We back up to 100% of threshold. So increase that cadence back to 95 RPM. Focus on good posture. Get the legs going. This is going to last for 90 seconds now. And after that 90 seconds, we've got the only effort today, which is going to take us over our threshold power. And it only lasts for 60 seconds, so it's not too bad. Cadence of 95 right now. Really focus on that. You've got another 60 seconds like this, and the session will start to get easier after this. Prepare yourself for the most intense effort of the entire session. This is really going to help increase your capacity, improve your endurance fitness as well as your aerobic fitness. Both of these are crucial to your performance on the bike outside. It's good for your all-round health as well. Just 35 seconds before the big increase. You take our cadence up to 100 revs per minute, and our power is going to be over threshold. So it's going to feel like a 9 out of 10 on the perceived exertion. It's going to be very, very hard, but it's only for 60 seconds. We can all do that. We can do anything for a minute. It's not a competition, man.
Still half wheeling me.
I am half wheeling you. I'm glad you've noticed.
I just can't get in front of you.
Just keep up. 3 seconds to go. 2, 1. Here we go. 60 seconds now. Really dig in. Cadence of 100, and you're just over your threshold power. So if your threshold is 300 watts, 315 watts is what you're aiming for. Remember, I chose that for easy maths. It's 60 seconds now, and then we've got a 30-second cooling off period as we get into the rest of the session. Good deep breaths. Hard to do when you're pedaling this fast, trying this hard, but it's really important. There's not a lot of time left in this session, so you might as well make the most of it. 105%, 9 out of 10, perceived exertion. Cadence 100 for the next 20 seconds. Really drill it all the way to the end of that 1 minute. Make the most out of this session. We've got 10 seconds left to go now, so really push, really dig in. Keep that cadence over 100 revs. That's the most important thing. If you're struggling with the power or the intensity, keep that cadence up there. Because in 1 second, stop, you can reduce the cadence down to 90. But your exertion is still very high, still 8 out of 10. We're very close to our threshold. It's only gonna last for 30 seconds. Then we get a nice 90-second recovery off the back of that. Just got another 10 seconds like this. We can really start to relax then. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right, reduce the intensity down to walking pace. Really easy now, cadence of 80. This is a good time to sit up for a second. We've got a minute and a half here. Good time to have a drink. Maybe get a towel, dry yourself off a little bit. If you plan on doing another session after this, it'll be a very good time to eat something. Drink something with a bit of sugar in it. Got 1 more minute. Keep that cadence at 80. Keep the intensity nice and low. You should feel like you're going for a walk. Although on the back of those efforts, it may well feel a little bit less comfortable than that.
Definitely.
Right, we've done the most of the hard work now. Just got a few short efforts to work our way through. We've got less than 10 minutes remaining on this session. A lot less than 10 minutes remaining, which is good news. Right, so the next effort is going to be 90 seconds, cadence of 85. The intensity is going to be right up there at 90%. We're going to work up towards 100% one final time before the warm down. So building back up towards that 9 out of 10. Good deep breaths now. You've got 15 seconds. We're going to start with the cadence of 85, so a little bit faster than we're currently pedaling. The exertion, that's going to be 8 out of 10 again. We've got 3, 2, 1. We're back up to 90% of threshold power. So if you are using that magic 300 watts, that's 270. Cadence set in the 85. Always give yourself a little window of error either side. Makes it a little bit less stressful to maintain. You can always count your cadence out as well. So this effort lasts 90 seconds. We've got another minute at this intensity. And we're going to start pushing on one more time towards that 100%. And then we're done. All the good work's about to happen. So we're halfway through this first one now. You probably notice your breathing increases faster the second time we're going up through these. The next step is going to be up to 90 cadence. And 95% of intensity, so it's going to feel quite hard. It might be quite hard to get these tired legs going fast, but really stick with it, you can do it. Just 20 seconds away now. Cadence at 90, intensity 95%, right up towards that threshold. This next effort's going to last 60 seconds. We've then got one brief step back before the final big push. And it's all done. 3 seconds, 2, 1, go. Increase that cadence to 90, increase that intensity to 95%. This lasts for 60 seconds. You've tried harder than this already today, so you can dig in for this one. Looking ahead at the next intervals, we go from 95%, which we're currently doing. Gonna drop down to 85%. This should feel like an 8 out of 10 if you're using perceived exertion. It's not an easy interval. It's not a max interval. My cadence is creeping up there again. Try and focus on keeping your cadence at the correct speed, plus or minus a few RPM. Just got 12 seconds left before we drop the cadence back down, or drop the intensity, sorry, back down to 85%. 3, 2, 1. So you may need to drop one gear here. Actually press the lap button. Drop one gear there, that's gonna help you just get on top of your breathing one more time. We've got 30 seconds now before the last 2 increases in effort, and then this session's done. We're nearly there. We've got 2.5 minutes of workload left to go, and it's a sweet recovery. Just good deep breathing. Just 5 seconds to go until we start now. 95% intensity, 95 cadence. 3, 2, 1, go. Get that cadence up there. Get the intensity up there. This is gonna last 90 seconds now. Really dig in. Every second that ticks off is a second we're getting closer to completing the effort, the entire session. Nice deep breathing, cadence at 95. If you're getting tired on the bike and you're getting tense, try and relax those arms. Try and breathe through your stomach and your lower chest. Got 1 minute left before the final increase. This should feel like a solid 8 out of 10 perceived exertion. I'm sweating more than you this time, Manon. 45 seconds to go before the final increase in intensity, and that lasts for 60 seconds. We're going to take our cadence up to 100 when we do that. I'm going to take our threshold power up to 100%, so that'll be 300 watts if you have a threshold of 300. It's going to be a good 9 out of 10 at the end of this session on the perceived exertion scale. We've got just 20 seconds now until that final ramp, and then we're all done. So 15 seconds, really drive it home to the final second. Don't skimp. Every second you miss, it's a second wasted. Just 5 seconds now until that final ramp. 3, 2, 1, and now really dig in. You probably won't have to change gear for this. Lift that cadence up to 100, and you're up to 100% of your threshold power now. I need to remind myself to relax on the bars. Good deep breaths. Focus on the numbers on your screen. Focus on your smooth cadence. Just 35 seconds until this session's over. 9 out of 10. Perceived exertion, 100% of your threshold power. 30 seconds to go. Cadence of 100. Really ride it all the way to the end. The final third of this last ramp now. 20 seconds to go. We've got that nice warm down to look forward to. If you've got much left in your legs, you can always increase that cadence ever so slightly. 100, 105. But drive it until the final second. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and recover. Back down to that walking pace. Back down to that 50% of your threshold power, and cadence back down to 80. Have a quick drink, catch your breath, get your towel, pick yourself up off the floor, do whatever it is you need to do. That's 30 minutes of solid work there, isn't it, Manon?
It is, and I'm glad you were doing the talking there because I couldn't talk.
You'd have to do the next one.
Oh.
So this session is designed to increase your aerobic fitness. We have many more of these videos on the channel. We just got 55 seconds left. This session was designed by Neal Henderson of the Sufferfest. He's designed a few sessions for us to complete, and you can ride along with us. If you enjoy this video, make sure you do give it a thumbs up. Nearly there, 30 seconds to go. We can all climb off, do a little bit of light stretching, get a drink, maybe clean the floor. It's probably quite important right now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit sweaty.
If there are any sessions that you'd like to see, make sure you drop them in the comments box underneath. Thumbs up, Manon.
Definitely. Good session, that.
Cheers, Neal. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Hope you enjoyed this one.